What? I'm gonna be selling. Please be selling.
Why are you being jail, man? Why would you be in jail?
Because I said so. This is so bad. I'm gonna get all day long and be in jail.
All right, so 6.7 notes. You should have these.
Yeah, Landon, where I needed to go.
Okay, well then, since that's whatever notes.
You're on my list.
On your list?
Yes.
Yeah, there's a list in Miss McCarthy's class too.
Oh.
Wait, what list? Hit list.
No. You saying you're gonna shoot me? I will.
No.
No, he just said underwear.
All right, so here's the goals for today, and so far you guys are not helping me. We need to knock these notes out quickly, and then we need some time to play quizzes to practice. I see quizzes as a way of practicing remembering those things. It's kind of like flashcards.
I did one of them 7 times.
I saw
I'm
that.
not even kidding.
I think
my not even like 7 Y's because I kept adding a Y every time.
I think you did it so many times for some reason it emailed me and said something like, I don't know.
This lady got 90% every single time.
Yeah.
And I missed a different question every single time.
Why do you do that?
I don't know.
All right, so equilateral isosceles scalant. Do we know this vocab?
Yeah.
No.
So equilateral,
All the sides are equal.
all the sides are the same. So all sides congruent. Isosceles means what?
2 sides are congruent.
2 sides. No, just 2, exactly 2. If it's got 3, then it is equilateral. And then scaling means
None.
no sides. How could we figure out? Okay. So basically, we have to do the distance formula how many times?
3.
3 times. Okay.
Why is this line that
Oh, why isn't it in the book? Guys, help me be efficient in notes by not talking, please. So I'm going to go ahead and figure out x, y. I'm going to figure out the length of YZ, and I'm going to figure out the length of ZX. And once I have all 3 lengths, then I can tell you exactly what this shape is in terms of those 3 words. So XY, distance formula, square root. Okay, should I write the distance formula down here?
No. Yes. Oh my God.
Distance formula, x1 minus x2 squared.
It doesn't matter. No, it doesn't.
I don't know why, but every textbook in the world would have the x2 first, but I don't do it that way. I know, and she's a much better teacher than I am. So.
You explain things that
For 5 days.
Yeah. There's been a week on one topic.
Yes, but we got everything so well. And we got everything that we
do. That's the topic of the day.
We didn't
I never got
have and then he yells at us for not understanding.
I yell at you?
Yesterday, you were like, you don't understand this. You were like, after one day of teaching us, you're like, why don't you understand this?
So you guys would rather me lecture every day?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Not necessarily. You do. Unless you don't have to. But like lecture. But we didn't have any time to do the work.
Can somebody do the math under the square root for me?
Oh yeah, sure.
What?
Can I use my pen for it?
Yeah.
16 for the first.
Square root of 16?
Yeah, but still.
Yeah.
Wait, no, wait. 16. And then square root of 16 is 4. Oh. 16 plus 36.
What's the quadratic?
52. I need to be putting my. The first one is 7.2.
Go ahead and give me square root.
7.2.
No, square root of what?
XY.
No, what was the number before you square rooted it? 52? Okay. Rachel, if you find one, let me know.
65 squared is the last one.
Square root of 65?
Yeah.
The second one is square root of 13.
And this is scaling.
Awesome. Okay, so none of them are equal, so this makes it scaling. So if I were to ask you, what is it, and to prove or show work to show that, basically what I just did would be that. If you just answer scaling, because it looks like it, okay, then you won't get any credit. So this is how we would show, right? So this is all based on sides. You gotta figure out the length of the sides. The next question asks, it's the same part, is it a right triangle? How do you know?
Because the slopes are opposite.
Good. So which angle would you want to question here?
Angle Y.
So if we can prove that this is 90 degrees, okay, so this is the question, is this 90 degrees, question mark. Okay, if I can prove that, then I can say that it's a right triangle. How do you prove that?
I have no idea. Do you
Good.
prove that they're perpendicular?
Prove that they're perpendicular. Gosh, your voice sounded really strange there.
It did.
It did. Okay, how do you prove two lines perpendicular? You got to find the what?
X to Y.
So we need to find slopes, okay? So M, I don't know, X, Y is M. Okay, the slope of X, Y. How do you find that?
Go up and over.
Okay, so it's on a graph, so we can go ahead and do that. Rise over run, so you want to say it's 3 over 2. Okay, and then the slope of YZ, negative 2/3. So are they perpendicular?
Yes.
Okay, they are. So is it a right triangle?
Yes.
Yes, it is right. So if somebody were to say, yeah, it's right because it looks like it's right, that would not be an acceptable answer. But if you said, yes, it's right, and you just wrote down these 2 bits of information, that'd be fine. This notation right here is mine, okay? So it's just kind of weird, but I think it makes sense. The slope of XY.
Oh, yeah.
Slope of, okay? Does that make sense? So if you have opposite reciprocals, then that makes them right. For some reason in the near future, if we wanted to show 2 lines parallel, then what would we do? Different B's, but the slopes are congruent, okay? In this case, do we care about the B? No, okay? So all we cared about was what the slope was. Didn't care, we wouldn't even care if it had the same B, which it wouldn't, but. Okay, so they could put it on a graph, or they could just give you the points. I personally think that it's a lot easier, which way, on the graph or given just the points? On the graph. So what I would do if I were you is to just sketch a quick graph of it. Even if it's not perfectly to scale, I would, in the corner here, I'm gonna do it above it. I would just make a quick little graph, okay? -2, 2 is my point A. 4, 6. 6, 3. 0, -1. So when I quickly look at it, I heard Dalton say, it looks like a rectangle, and I agree, it surely looks like a rectangle. But how would we know first question, part A, is how can I show it's a rhombus? Rhombus is a question of what? Every side's the same. As soon as I show that one side isn't, okay, then I can say it's not a rhombus.
But you don't have to tell. It's obvious.
Okay, now we're not allowed to say it's obvious. We have to show with distance formula. Okay. So what do I need to find the distance of?
Mr. McConnell, anybody in the right state of mind could see that all the sides are not equal.
No wonder I can't see that.
And the only reason I need all 4 sides is for what? For the rectangle, okay? If it was just a rhombus question, as soon as I show that it doesn't work, I could show that AB is not congruent to DC, or AB is not congruent to BC, then I can say it's not a rhombus. But for the rectangle, I need the other bits of information. Square root A to B is -2 minus 4 squared. It'd probably be in your best interest for you to figure out one of the 4 here to make sure that you can type in the calculator without making a mistake. Square root of 52.
Next year we're going to be class of juniors, right?
No, you'll be with only sophomores and freshman years. Freshman, yeah.
Freshman from PB.
Well, then my friends say, I cannot go city.
On the side, so then
You're going to Central? And are you going to go to?
I'm going to Central.
You want to Central one? The second one is 13 squared.
Better.
Square root of 13.
So we can tell them that it's not.
It doesn't work.
Okay. So right there, square root of 52, square root of 13, boom, not a rhombus. Unfortunately, it asks us more than that. Okay. So right here, I can write no for that first question. AB is not congruent to BC. I don't know if that's truly the notation. Do you know this? Do you know what this means? Not equal. So I'm going to call that not congruent.
CD is the square root of 52.
CD is square root of 52.
We don't know that yet. We haven't wrote down the equation. I did.
Yeah, slow.
Yeah.
Wait. Okay, so that's 2, that's 4 plus 3, 9. Yeah, 13. Cool.
Thank you.
For that last parenthesis.
Yeah.
Why can't we just put cost one?
You also cut out more above it.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Isn't the last one 13?
I'm gonna have to tell Miss McCarthy all my mistakes and how much you love me today at lunch.
2.6457.
Because you did square root. I'm not doing square root. Did you do square root? Is it 13? And we don't have to really get precise. We just need to see that those are either the same or not the same. For rectangle, I've now have proven that this is a what? No. Parallelogram, because opposite sides are congruent on parallelogram.
Now we have to show that the
90
angles are all 90.
We got to show all the angles are 90 degrees.
Why is geometry so complex?
But we just gotta do perpendicular.
Why is it so time consuming?
That's good.
Go away.
Why won't that?
No, that won't be in this class.
Why won't we be with you? I wanted
I want 6.
Almost like you want to be a collaborative, you'll be with upper class.
How do you figure out AB? Because I'm not going to trust my graph, because I think if I go on my graph, I'm going to make a mistake.
You have to do 1 minus 5 or x times that.
Change of y's. So 2 minus 6 over negative 2 minus 4. Yeah.
I left my braces in the office. Can I go get them for half an hour?
That's what?
My braces in the office. Can I go get them?
You can get it at lunch.
You can get them at lunch.
Help me out here, guys. So the slope of AB is that. Someone figure out the slope of BC for me. Someone figure out the slope of CD for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Two negative 3, Mr. BC.
BC is what?
Negative 3.
It's negative 2/3. It's not negative 3/2.
No, it's negative 2.
It's negative 2/3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
No, it's negative 3.5.
That's dope.
Alright, yeah.
Because I did extra graph.
Yeah. 2.
I
It's 2 negative 3.
What's CD? Somebody calculate AD for me.
Oh, okay. So that so which means that's a 90-degree angle. 2, that's negative 3/2. AD is negative 3/2.
Did you calculate it or are you just assuming?
He calculated it in his head.
I calculated it in my small brain.
So is it a rectangle?
Yes.
Eli, can you stop just chatting, please?
Yeah.
So yes, because
No, we don't have to explain it.
Okay. Opposite congruent sides and perpendicular angles. Is that okay?
Weird.
What?
Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah. Hello, Mark.
All right, so for the sake of time, I want to quickly we're going to talk about this and not necessarily solve the problem. In order to figure out if it's a kite or a trapezoid, a kite, what's going to be true about a kite?
There's 2 sets of congruent sides, but they're not opposite.
Okay, 2 congruent sides, not opposite. Okay, and then how about a trapezoid?
One set of parallel.
One set of parallel.
Only one set parallel. So basically, the first question is asking us to find the distance. if I can find the distance and show that this distance and this distance are the same, and then I can show that this distance and that distance is the same, then I can say it's a kite. Okay?
Because I just counted 4 squares for the first.
I mean, it's literally just 4 squares here.
What else do I need to know in terms of slope? What's true about a kite?
But the diagonals are perpendicular.
Diagonals are, that's true, but
So their slopes
but
are
in terms of their length,
I don't know.
in terms of the sides, I mean,
All I know is.
are there any parallel sets in a kite?
No.
No. So if you find a parallel set, it's not a kite. Okay. Good. And then a trapezoid, we gotta prove that those are parallel, so that they have the same slope. You got to prove that these two are not parallel. Okay. It's not a trapezoid.
No.
Isn't the slope of negative 2, 3?
Like
The
that.
top one is negative 2, 3. The bottom one has negative
So this slope is what?
1, 3.
That one is.
Yeah.
2/3.
It looks like it is though.
Surely it looks like it is, right? So we got to be careful. Okay, so it is not a trapezoid because that is not parallel. And I'll tell you that on tests and stuff, we surely like to give you ones that look like they're or that it's a trapezoid, but you get to do the math. Absolutely, you do the math and you can see that it's not.
I said, can you not do that?
You can tell that.
Okay.
I didn't even
You can't not do that.
Just like to.
Probably do. Mr. McConnell, I have a question for the kite ones.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to just count the squares and say that?
Yeah, absolutely. Because if they're square, you couldn't count these squares though. Yeah, but absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about, because
And the distance formula is going to be really easy on that because the 2 minus 2 is 0. So then you're going to square a number and then square root it.
Well, we don't have to write the distance.
Right. No. Last one here. Again, I don't really want to do this, but basically I would graph it. Okay. What are you talking about, Eli? Nothing? Okay. So I would graph it. I would find the distance. Why do I need to find the distance from each point? For the perimeter, add those up. There's your perimeter.
And the area, because you have to multiply length times width.
Once I figure out basically what the shape is and I have the sides, then I can maybe use quadratic or the Pythagorean theorem to figure out, cut it, make it into triangles. Okay, depending on its shape. Okay. Do you guys know the formula for area of a trapezoid? No.
Miss McCarthy taught it to me, but I forgot.
But so you could cut it into triangles. Okay. If do you know the formula for rhombus?
It's a square, right?
Okay. So you could cut it into triangles. Okay. Do you know the formula for rectangle?
Cut it into a triangle.
You could cut it into a triangle. You don't, or you probably know rectangle.
What would you do for circles?
Circles.
You can't split it into
It's pi r squared and then pi and then.
Yeah, they're all.
Just like the warm-up question. I want to say something, please. Listen. Just like the warm-up question, many different ways to solve it. Get the answer right, life's good. Okay, there's no, you have to do it this way in this class. Okay, get the answer right and life's good. Use your brain. That's why Mr. McConnell doesn't teach like Mrs. McCarthy, because I just want you to always be thinking about it and working really hard rather than me just professing information to you. I know, I can tell.
I mean, I like
She's pretty
standard
awesome.
teaching.
Okay.
I like standard teaching, but I also like this way of doing it as well.